This is the thing that sucks about growth is like at every level that we're growing, we have to find our voice again. Like we get back into imposter syndrome. We get back into like comparison, whatever we want. But then you have to go back to, no, I'm just going to be myself. And that's so finding your voices. And they're going to either love it or I'm going to learn from it.
Welcome to the Business Builders Playbook, the show that breaks down the systems and strategies behind predictable revenue growth to win in business. In each episode, we're diving into the proven strategies that separate the winners who scale from the losers who fail. This show is sponsored by BDR.ai, the AI-powered business development platform that automates your outbound prospecting so you can focus in on closing deals instead of chasing leads. Let's get started. Hey, welcome everybody. We're excited to kick off another show of the Business Builder Playbook, and man, we've got an amazing guest with you all today. We got the amazing Stacey Lauren. Stacey Lauren is the founder of the Do the Thing podcast, the Do the Thing community. Straight up, she just does the thing. I mean, if this gal gets an idea and she wants to take action on it, she absolutely crushes it. And it's just been such a pleasure to be able to build a friendship with her and just to watch her just take the world by storm. She has been doing so many cool things. Her latest thing, we're going to talk about it and get more into specifics about the $1 billion impact marketplace. And if you are a business builder and you want to figure out a better strategy and a better play to run in your playbook, this is definitely something that you should consider. So, Jeff, you have been friends with Stacey for many years, so I'll let you do a quick little introduction because of your friendship.
Yeah, I mean, Stacey and I joined a marketing mastermind group 10 years ago. And every month for 8 hours, we sat in a room and said, how do we do a better job marketing our business so we can sell more? And what was there? 8 people in the group, phenomenal group of people, businesses anywhere from 5 million to 30 million. And every month I walked away from that marketing mastermind with a lot better information than I walk out of my CEO club from. CEO club, oh, look at the financials, revenue, earnings, what's your business plan, kind of dry, but marketing was fun. So we would do marketing things together and we would steal each other's ideas. Oh, this is working really well for me. I'm taking that, implementing that into my business. So that's how Stacey and I met. And then we both sold pretty big companies, 8-figure exits right around the same time. And we both got depressed together. We go, what are we going to do now? We're kind of bored. What are we going to? So we were kind of helping each other. We didn't realize after selling our companies, we'd actually miss our 60 or 100 employees and not know what to do. It's like there's a grieving after you exit your company. We got the money, which was great, but it's not always about the money. So we've kind of supported each other, and now we're both off building new businesses again, right? We can't stop. So that's kind of the history. And Stacey's become a friend. She's been to my house. I've been to her house, out on her boats in San Diego Harbor, Bitchin area, Coronado, and then me out on my ranch. So anyways, that's quick intro. So
Right.
glad I could be here.
Stacey, we're so glad to have you here with us. And Jeff talked a little bit about the fact that you spent 20 years helping to build a successful staffing company before launching the Do the Thing movement. So I'm just kind of curious as we kind of kick things off right now is that what experiences during that chapter of your career of building that staffing company to the successful exit that you had shaped the philosophy around just the work that you're doing today with the $1 billion marketplace?
Yeah. And thanks so much. I'm so glad to be here. Love everything about what you guys are building and doing and the impact that you're making in the world. And yeah, the staffing company was like everything for me because I spent 20 years hearing like people from the job side of things, like everything that they couldn't do. Like imagine like you're looking for a job and it's like, oh, maybe like they're scared of rejection or the fear of like getting promoted or the fear of losing your job or the fear of getting a new job or whatever it is that's going on. But it's all this mental baggage that people have when they're wanting to do something like that. And then also from a leadership side, I was helping companies fill critical roles, and I got to see them at the most vulnerable moments in their life as well. Because a lot of times when you're building your team, or maybe you lost a bunch of people, or you don't think you're a good enough leader, or whatever story you're telling yourself, there's like all this stuff that happens. And so by the time I exited, those voices of all the people, because we had 60 internal employees, 600 external employees, of all those people in my head about everything that they weren't good enough to do, they couldn't do, they didn't want to do, they were scared to do, was like driving inside of me. And so that's where do the thing really came, because I'm like, what is the difference, between people that are successful, and that are doing the thing versus the people that are like getting stuck. And sometimes they are the same people. Sometimes it's different things, that we're good at and different things that we're still working on or that we have the stories about. But it was like I became this like human experimenter, essentially, like identifying what this is.
Yeah, was that really what kind of moved you into this whole movement of the billion-dollar marketplace? Was just kind of catapulting from that do the thing formula into the idea of actually helping people to create massive impact in the world?
Yeah, it's kinda wild. So, like, Do the Thing started with the podcast, and actually both you and, Jeff are, like, part of that OG podcast when I was still, dissecting the formula, and I got to hear your success stories, and imagine, like, I'm, like, this, like, scientist, not really a scientist, but, like, an experimenter, and identifying what the common patterns are, and for anyone that listens to the podcast, like, the first 100 episodes, you'll hear me real time talking about the formula, like identifying the why or mindset or goals or accountability and all these different pieces that I started to notice. And once I dissected the formula, which is basically just patterns of what helps people achieve success, I, of course, now that I'm a mad scientist, apparently, I was like, okay, I'm going to test it. And it's so fun because I remember Jeff, part of all those conversations in the mastermind when I'm like, I've got the formula. And and so, anyway, I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna test it," and that's when I decided to, run a challenge, and it just was like a total whim. I had just met my boyfriend. We met, in person, not online. I happened to be in a group at the time with a bunch of people that were struggling with dating apps, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna help them, with dating," not like a dating coach, but, like, help them just at least get out, in person and meet people, and so I, like, positioned the challenge with dares, and then I posted it in a group and I said, "Who wants to do this with me? I'm gonna do dares," and I told them kinda like the story of where it came from, and 100 people said yes, and that was when I literally got to see 100 people in motion because of this formula, and so the formula that was actually the thing that helped an individual take action turned out to be something that helps a group take action together, which is actually the core of my message now, which is being with people that have the same goal as you, not just your friends and family, not your regular support network. It's when you have a goal, it's like being with those people. And for example, with the dating group, that was what I noticed because a lot of them were like in the group, they're getting excited, they're doing the dares. And I'm like, wait, can my friends see this? My support network? Like, I don't want them to see what I'm doing, because it's when you're growing personally, and if you don't have people around you that are growing too, that is like it's hard, right? And so we could think that, oh, maybe this isn't for us, but no, you're just not in the right room. And so that's where like the challenges came from. Now I run these challenges from dating to starting podcasts to find your voice, whatever.
Stacey,
Oh yeah,
can I can I ask you something? Because we were in that marketing group generating leads for your staffing company, for my junk mail company, right? Selling direct mail. And
yeah.
now you're doing the thing. What what can you take from that on a marketing perspective? Like how you marketed your huge, like I want to call it HR company, staffing
Yeah.
company, or marketing, do the thing. What's your takeaway on marketing? I'm just curious from all the stuff we did for years, like relating that, like just can you share anything about marketing?
Yeah, no, I have a lot to say about marketing. There's like
Excited.
this whole I teach yeah, no, I teach this whole money grows on trees thing, which I did learn back when I sold books door to door, and I took that into the staffing company. And I also teach that inside Do the Thing, especially to people that want to grow their business or they want to market their business or they want to fill whatever room they're wanting to fill. But it's like understanding that idea of like there's so much business out there for us. It's just a matter of overcoming the no's, and be able to move past the no even more. So that's like number 1 is anyone that's like wanting to market their business, it's like understanding that there are going to be people that are going to like you and there are people that aren't. And then the other thing that I've really I want to say like do really well with Do the Thing now which I think I did it with the staffing company, but I've really leveraged it now, which is community. It's building people around the thing that you're doing. So if you have a product, if you have a software, if you have a book, creating an interactive experience around it. And that's what the challenges do. And so, and then I also do this thing called my people parties, which are these like community interactive experiences around something. So it's different than a workshop, it's different than a webinar, it's different than a training. It's really taking people on a Zoom or in person and being able to host an interactive community experience around whatever it is you're wanting to do. And that is, I think, hands down the best way to market your business.
So if this show is resonating with you and you're ready to take action because you want to scale your business faster, smarter, with more AI and technology and less labor, check out BDR.ai. We help entrepreneurs and executive sales leaders to automate the grind of prospecting so you can focus your time on closing deals and growing revenue where you should be spending your time. With AI-powered data, digital outreach automation, and done-for-you prospecting systems, you'll connect with more qualified leads, book more appointments, and build predictable revenue without adding more hours to your week or the week of your staff. Visit BDR today and discover how our AI Prospect Finder and digital BDR agents can help you to build your pipeline and your profits. Visit BDR.ai, where business builders learn how to automate and scale their playbook.
I started doing all this stuff, right? Which is technically really marketing because I'm like learning what do people want? What do they need next? Right. And that's another kind of marketing thing right there. And then I'm running these challenges. I even had Melissa Gilbert hired me to run a challenge for her community. I did a challenge for Eileen Wilder. Like I'm literally like running these challenges everywhere. And that was where I started to notice this like comfort circle. So the do the thing formula became this like map of somebody's comfort zone. And like each kind of like piece of their comfort zone is a comfort circle. And so for those of you listening and aren't watching right now, I'm holding up a giant concentric circle, which has been 5 years of my life identifying. And so yeah, so that's kind of like what I actually love now. And this is where the $1 billion impact marketplace came from, David, is from me helping people. So for example, in the dating challenge, they're in horse mode. They don't want to leave their house yet because they're like, oh, I'm waiting to meet someone before I leave the house. And then now I want to like, oh, maybe I'm leaving my house. I don't need to wait for a date, right? Now I'm finding my voice. Maybe I start to write a book, right? Or I'm thinking about like just even joining a group or whatever it is, right? Then all of a sudden you're now getting more and more confident around, your voice and who you are. Now you might want to share it because you're seeing that you're able to help people with the things that you're saying. And so now this is when you might want to speak at a school or do a TEDx talk or start a podcast. And then, but after you're doing that, now you're like, well, wait, how do I monetize this? Because you're spending so much time, you start liking it. And then you want to like actually monetize your voice. And this is where everybody got stuck, is in this monetize your voice. And so that was actually really how the $1 billion impact marketplace came, is because now I have a vehicle really to help everyone monetize their voice, whether they're like brand new entrepreneur or they've been like, I have people that are literally making hundreds of $1 millions that are still part of the marketplace, because it's a way that it's a vehicle that you're able to like donate a product or service. A percentage of the money goes to you, and then a percentage of the money goes to the charity. And so everybody loves it since they're able to grow their business while also fueling causes at the same time.
Yeah, and it's funny. I just want to share something. I was reading something about Mark Benioff. He quit his job at Oracle, making $1 million a year. Everybody said he was crazy. I think Salesforce is worth like 300 billion. There's only two companies in the world that could afford to buy it, and it might be Oracle, the job he quit, which I think would be cool. Larry Ellison, fifth largest, wealthiest guy in the world. So he's got this great story. But Benioff with Salesforce, I read this article where he makes all of his employees give 10% of their money, 10% of his time, and I can't remember the other 10%. And I'm like, wow, I never did that. I wonder if I would have done that. People lobby around the cause, and I don't agree with all their causes in San Francisco, some weird stuff. That's just not me, but it is pretty powerful. 30% of your time, your money. I can't remember the third one, but all the employees like got on board with it. And I'm like, God, I wonder if that's how Salesforce is worth 300 billion now. I mean, it's incredible, right? Kind of ties into what you're doing a little bit.
I love that. I can't wait to like study that more, Jeff, because I haven't.
Do a throwdown on Mark Benioff and what he did. Because one thing about that guy, he is a giver, and he's a billionaire, and I can appreciate that.
Well, and I think that's one of the things that like I love about what this $1 billion impact marketplace is, because basically, for anyone that hasn't heard about it yet, is well, so where it started was I became a charity auctioneer, so that was like one thing. Where I learned from Sean Kelly, who was my mentor. He's raised a $500 million in 10 years with his voice, which is wild to me. And being in the room with that much wealth being like generated and given, the generosity, it just like is electric. And I became like obsessed with it. So he mentored me. I became a charity auctioneer. And then at the same time, I was trying to figure out like, how can I use this with like what I'm doing with these challenges, with my people parties? Because like when you're building a movement, you're building an audience, like of course you could connect them together, right? And that was when I ended up going to Necker Island. I got to see how like Sir Richard Branson is doing his philanthropy with part of his Disrupting for Good group. And then I met Susie Gigante, who's the director of community engagement for Virgin Unite. And she spoke at one of my events. And back to your point, Jeff, what she was teaching there was like, we don't need to like wait. Like these employees are giving. Like we don't need to wait till we're uber successful before we give. We could give at any level that we are, right? And that's where this model came from, is all of a sudden I'm like, how can I help everyone win? And I'm like, great, I'm going to sell somebody's product, somebody's service, somebody's offer, somebody's experience, whatever they have, vacation home, whatever they want to sell. 40% of the money goes back to them, 40% goes to the cause. So we're basically using commerce now to fuel charity, and it's exciting. And that's what I love about, I can't wait to learn more about him, because like when you have a company, and you remember this from like when we owned our companies, it's like our employees, that's all they care about. They want to give, like they care about money, but they care more about having meaning and purpose and fulfillment. And they want to know that their boss is not a jerk, and they want to know that there's like there's more, it's something bigger than the business, right? And so that's what this marketplace is going to be doing, is we're going to be adopting it into companies all over the world. And then imagine, like, let's say a charity wants to raise money, and then maybe David, you're the speaker, and then you're selling your speaking, your keynote, and then 40% of the money goes to you, 40%. So see what I mean? They're like almost like your affiliate in essence, is we're giving the opportunity for now nonprofits and causes to become like creators affiliates, which is wild. Yeah.
What was the connection point? Like when did you bridge that gap between developing communities and helping people to break out of their comfort circles? And also, why a horse?
Yeah, well, I'll answer the horse first. So, this journey has been wild. I don't even know. It's been like one thing after the other, but I ended up meeting a movie producer. He actually is doing, I think he's a writer for Wicked 3. I don't know. It's wild. I met him, and then, I helped him. I used my people party system to help him monetize something that he was working on, helped him make a bunch of money doing that, which was exciting, using community and getting people around his message. And then while I'm doing that, we ended up meeting this organization called Saddles and Service, and they help first responders and veterans with an active duty with PTSD through equine therapy. And so we went to the ranch. I don't even know why I went, because I was technically done with our like contract, but I was like, I met them, I met Tammy, the owner, and I'm like, I feel like I need to go. So I went there. And then part of this movie process is for them to be interviewing the veterans and the first responders. And that was when I got to learn like how they overcame PTSD. It wasn't through talk therapy, nor would they have ever gone to talk therapy. Like some of them were actively suicidal, when they went. It was the horse. And so what the horse showed me was you don't need to talk. It's like this nonverbal activity. And so the horse could represent anything. Think about our kids with gaming, right? Like sometimes like our kids might feel more comfortable gaming than like talking to us. But if we're pushing them to talk to us, they're retreating. They're going to go down in the comfort circles. Where if we meet them where they are, now they're moving through the circles. And so it's an understanding of like human psychology when you understand the horse, because it's also sailing. Maybe instead of the veterans or kids or whatever you want to use as an example, like they're on a sailboat, they're not having to talk, they're enjoying, they've got the wind in their hair, and now they're going to start talking. And so anyway, that's where the horse came from. And I love it. I love the horse. And we call it and do the thing we call it horse mode. So like it's like, let's say like even when I went to Necker Island, I felt so like not good enough to be in that room, like with all these people that were doing like such like Nobel Peace Prize winner, like crazy celebrities. It was like wild. And so like I would talk to my community. I'm like, I am definitely in horse mode now. And that's what we call horse mode, is when you're like kind of like you're in your safe bubble, but you're not like completely comfortable talking yet. But then you get more confident. Now I've made some friends, so I'm obviously feel comfortable now there. And they never made me feel anyway, it was all in my head. But the point is it's knowing when you feel that way too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you bring your cardboard thing up again?
Sure.
I wanted to ask you a question about that,
Yeah.
and it's probably I'm just curious to know those white lines that separate us from that next ring.
Yeah.
What is your secret? Because I think that there's a whole story in those white lines of like moving from monetizing your voice to creating a movement to the idea of $1 billion mark. I mean, just to say the word $1 billion is just like a little bit feels funny. Um,
Yeah.
there's something that has to push you through, and I know that a big part of that for you is building communities that actually almost push you through or pull you through. Would you say that that's what the difference is between what you're doing and what a lot of other people are doing, is that you're creating environments to create those breakthroughs?
I love that. Yeah, so this is an individual's journey of how an individual gets their voice out, and it's also the way a community can get their voice out. If you think about Tony Robbins, a lot of his people are like globally impacting people, and then some of them are horse. And so when we know what our community and what circle they're in, then we're not like, why is no one engaging?
Mm.
Why aren't they interacting? Why aren't they participating? We're like, okay, I'm not giving them the safe space enough to find their voice.
I got a good one. Tiffany is a big horse rider. She's had horses her whole life. My wife. We'll go rent horses on the beach in Hawaii, and I'll get on a horse and he'll turn around and go back to the barn. And there's a term for that. It's called barn sour. If they're barn sour, they retreat from the nice ocean ride and go back to the barn. They're so comfortable in the barn, they never want to leave. So when you get on a horse and he starts running the other direction, Tiffany would be like, "Oh, your horse is barn sour." Isn't that funny? So that kind of ties into what you're saying. Retreat
So
back to
good.
the barn. It's there.
Well, it's true. Yeah, no, it's so good. And it's back to like really when you understand the circles, because let's say someone's here, but then something happens where they don't feel safe. They're going back into horse mode.
Barn sour. Yeah.
And then, yeah. And then the other thing about this is see where find your voice is. This is the thing that sucks about growth is like at every level that we're growing, we have to find our voice again. Like we get back into imposter syndrome. We get back into like, I mean, I think that's imposter. Am I good enough? Like whatever, comparison, whatever we want. And so no matter what I've done and where I go, it's like it always like even Jeff, you saw me speak at the like CEO group with Mike Richardson at Ref. And it was so fun, but it was my first time going in front of CEOs since I've like left corporate. And I was freaking out beforehand, going, oh my gosh, is this gonna and it was find your voice. I had to find my voice again. And now I could speak to anyone. Like I'm okay going with CEOs again. It took me like a minute though, to like know that I am qualified to be the speaker in this room. And the wild thing was I spoke to another speaker, the same thing he said. He was like, oh man, I hope it's good enough for this room, and because the room felt like really big in terms of who's gathered there.
Okay.
And but then you have to go back to no, I'm just gonna be myself. And that's what finding your voice is. And they're gonna either love it or I'm gonna learn from it. Either way, right? But if we're in our head and we're thinking we're not good enough, you're not giving the most of who you are and what you can offer if you're in your head. And so that's the important thing is to get it out of your head, be able to really just tap into like who you are at like this deepest level where you feel the most alive. And now you're able to make the most amount of your $1 billion impact because now you're not being stopped by what room you're in. You're not stopped by anything. And you also don't need things to be like perfect either. You're able to be a little messier, which is also kind of the secret. Because when you're in these safe communities, like you can, and Mike's a really good example of that. Like he talked about like his event, which I mean to us looks perfect, right? But in his mind, it's like version one, right? But in our minds, this is like a great, amazing event. But it's still like it's nice to not have to like wait an extra year to plan something for everything to be exactly what you picture in your mind because no one needs that. We just want to connect with other people that have the same goal. We don't need all this craziness that we think we need.
Something else I'll throw out there, David, I don't know if you know this, but at the end of our marketing group before Stacey and I sold our companies, I think it was back then, she's like, I'm going to go out and go on stage as a comedian. And I'm like, are you crazy? There's no more rejection than that, dude. That scares me to death. Be on stage with my best material. Nobody's laughing. Get booed off stage. I'm like, I don't think I could do that, dude. She's been on stage like 10 or 15 times doing comedy. I've wanted to go. I haven't made it down to San Diego, but I'm like, dude, that took some nerve. I would be too scared to do that, but she's breaking through barriers. I mean, I don't know if you did it so that you could have the ultimate rejection and be able to work through it. Or maybe you're funny as hell and got a bunch of laughs, and that's probably fun. But I'm convinced comedians are pretty crazy. Robin Williams,
Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld, some of the best ever got through that rejection, made it through. And I'm like, that's next level. So it's exciting that you did that. I mean, maybe someday, I'll do it, but that one scared me. I'm like, no, don't do it, Steve. Someday, get back in your barn, your horse.
I know.
Yeah.
I was just about to tell you, I am doing I'm hosting an open mic night.
Oh no. Oh no. I'm gonna get an invite now. Yep. Yep. Yes. Yes. I had to do 2 minutes. I got 3 jokes. That's all the rejection I could handle though, before they start laughing and boot me off stage and yeah, heckle me. I'm like, dude, getting heckled, that sounds horrible. I don't even like public speaking. I'm uncomfortable on a Zoom thing like this, but you did it and it's just like pushing through barriers. That's what
Well, and that's a really good point. I'm glad you brought it up, Jeff, because like it's all about being in the right room where you feel safe, right? And so, for example, the open mic night, that's going to be like a small room where we're just all getting together. We're all going to be up there wanting to just do 3 minutes of whatever the heck is exciting for us right now, whether it's comedy or speaking or reading a poem or whatever it is. And then you're able to like kind of meet yourself where you are. And so that's the whole thing, though. It's like realizing it's really like that's what I've been kind of obsessed with, is like identifying what your own kind of like comfort circle is and then knowing, okay, I just need to like find the right room for this side of me to express. And that was why I originally did comedy was I hadn't done any speaking at that point. I was actually even scared to do Toastmasters, but I was starting to do the thing and I was like, I have to do the ultimate do the thing that terrifies me more than anything. And then of course it was comedy, and then I, like, shut it down for, like, 6 months, and I didn't tell anyone, that that was it, and then a friend of mine joined a comedy class and then said, "Do you wanna come?" And that was when I started to do it. I wouldn't say I'm funny, though, like, that's what's funny about it. It's like, just because I do comedy doesn't mean I'm funny at all. It's just fun, and I like it, and it kinda, like, expresses a different side of me that I haven't expressed before, and it kinda opens up doors in different ways, which is fun, and that's how I met Sean Kelly, the auctioneer. That's what's wild. So had I not done comedy I wouldn't be doing the whole thing right now, which is wild.
Tell us a joke. We'll tell you if you're funny.
Well, I have a whole routine on YouTube that you could check out, and it talks about how much I love sucking, because, that's why I'm able to do the thing. Because so many people are, like, perfectionists, and that's why they're not good. Like, that's why they're stopped because they think it has to be perfect, but when you love to suck and you're okay, like, getting lost in directions, you're okay with not being good at something, whatever it is, you have no expectations that you're good. So, anyway, I have a lot of jokes around, like, perfectionism and all of that, yeah. Mm.
And you have a TEDx talk as well, right? So you've got lots of great content out there.
Yeah, yeah, it's really I mean, the TEDx talk, like, if anyone ever wants to, like, really understand my work, I feel like that's the best thing to watch because that's, like, the power of community to help you achieve your goals. That's when I really identified the one piece of the formula that really stands out over like everything. Because if you don't have the right community around you for the goals that you have, whether if you want to run a marathon, you need to be in a marathon group. If you want to do a TEDx talk, be in a TEDx group. If you want to write a book, be in a book group. So it's really finding the right group, that helps you like build that camaraderie around it really powerfully.
Yeah, I love the TEDx talk. I don't know. It's been a while now. of the guy that went out there and did all these unreasonable requests.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
ask people. Yeah, I can't remember the
right. Yeah.
Asian guy, and he was talking about how he would ask companies like, "Do you do burger refills?"
Yeah.
And then when they say no, and they laugh at him, he goes, "Why not?" And when you would ask people, "Hey, can I plant a flower in your backyard?" And they're like, "No, why?" And he just kept asking people these unreasonable things, and it was just amazing the doors that just opened up for him because he was making this unreasonable request where people kind of laughed about it, and then he found something that he wanted to do, but it was because he had to make the request. So great content out there. So let's talk a little bit about the $1 billion marketplace, and let's talk about what that looks like and how people could learn more and participate.
Yeah, so the Billion Dollar Impact Marketplace is where I have made a bold declaration of raising $1 billion for charities and impact projects. Now, an impact project could actually be like even a business that like means something, like a startup, or something. So it's really just being able to fuel these like projects in really powerful ways. And so I'm doing that by taking entrepreneurs, actually celebrities. I went to something for the Oscars this week, which was wild. Anybody's products, services, whatever people have. So I've had people sell billboards to speaking spots to personal growth, professional growth, signings, like travel, like Airbnbs, like all kinds of stuff. They're putting it into the auction platform. I'm the auctioneer. And then everything I sell basically gets split. So 40% goes back to the person, 40%. It's so fun. It's like really fun. And so the way you get involved is, I mean, sometimes I do pop up auctions, like even on a Saturday. I'm sure it'll be too late by the time you listen. I'm doing a pop up auction for a friend of mine that's trying to raise money for her ranch. She owns she's helping first responders, with uh almost like imagine a first responder and everything they have to do during the day. She gives them a place to reset, essentially. And
Mm.
so
Equine therapy, is that?
hers is an equine. Hers is just with like kind of like more soothing type things, but it's a really beautiful space. And she messaged me this morning saying she's like in a dire need. And I was like, well, let's pop up an auction on Saturday. And so anyway, I do these pop-up auctions, but for the most part, I have this program. It's called the $1 Billion Impact Networking Immersion. And that's where we go through this really fun experience together for 30 days. And we're all like, almost like, imagine it's like your business is on steroids because you're with all these really cool people that are doing all this really cool stuff. And you find like, what are the goals that you're wanting, whether you're wanting to grow your business, you're wanting to learn how to do Facebook ads, you want to learn AI, you want to travel, you want to cook, whatever it is, it's there for you during this 1 month immersion. And then at the end, guess what we do? We celebrate with an auction. And then everyone then sells their products and services. And it's a whole nother way of networking because now you're getting to work with people that you might not have had an opportunity to do. So that's one way. And then another
So when
way.
you say the word auction, the first thing that comes into my mind is, and I know that there's different ways to do an auction, is you're up in front of the room going, "Who will give me 30 now, 30 now, 35 now?" Like, is it really an auction, or is it
Yeah.
more like a silent auction where you put your stuff in an online platform and people bid on it, and then
Yeah, it's a great question. I actually am building out the silent and the like actual marketplace where that will be living at some point. But for the most part, right now we've raised, I think we're at over $500,000 using this model. It's virtual and in person, and it's an actual like auction where I am doing like the whole tell me what you have to offer. And then, okay, we're gonna start this bid off at $100, $100 bidder now, 200, $200 bidder now, 300. And it's so fun. And then everyone gets crazy. My boyfriend on the back end, he made this like app, this whole new virtual fundraising platform where we raise his paddles and it's like really fun. Everyone loves it. It's very high energy. It's something like no one, every time like someone comes, I think I've done like at the point of this video, probably 8 by now because it's still really new. When anyone comes, they are just like their minds are blown because it's just so much like fun when you're like putting people's products, you get to hear them. I get to sell them. Some people are getting crazy deals that they would never have access to in the public, because people are wanting to support the charity. And other times, like these offers are going for like crazy money, too, which is really fun.
and how are you tracking the $1 billion impact?
It's a great question. Yeah, right now it's on a little spreadsheet, but eventually I'm hoping to have a cool thermometer that will like kind of track it manual. Like right now it's manually tracking.
And it's just that you're just tracking the transactions that are done at the actual auctions. You're not tracking the auction or the post revenue that's created because of the growth.
It's a great question. Ideally, it would be fun to be able to track other people because what's happening is we're changing their psychology around what it means to give, and that was part of what I learned from Susie Gigante, the director of community engagement for Virgin Unite. She helped us like reframe our psychology around giving. And so part of me is like thinking that counts, but it's just been, I can't track it. It's been hard to track other people's
And you're
effort.
writing a book as well.
Yeah, it's funny. So my daughter, I'm gonna promote her book right now. She wrote this book, Intention into Action. She's 18, and literally she wrote this book in 2 weeks. And so I have had a book in my heart for the last 5 years, and I do not have a book that you could hold up. So it's funny when we went to the Oscars because she's like having all these celebrities sign her book. It was wild. The whole thing was like crazy. And anyway, I'm running a challenge. I'm running a Do the Thing challenge around her book this week. And so now, guess what's happening? I can see the end. I can see where I'm going to actually publish this book by July. And it's called The $1 Billion Impact Networking, which is this new way of networking around shared goals. And then teaching people like stop doing just surface level, like, who are you? What do you do? Like, let's do something around goals together. So, because
Yeah, and then
when you're doing something around goals, like you get to know each other so deeply. Like even with you, Jeff, right? When we think about we had a goal in the mastermind with marketing, we all got so close, and like you're building this camaraderie and these friendships. Whereas a lot of times when you're in just like regular, regular networking events, it's just annoying and exhausting and in the same old thing. When you do it around a goal, it's like you're really like you're learning about each other. You're crying together. Like in that group, we were like crying together. We were like growing together. We are doing all kinds of stuff. And so anyway, that's the idea of it. But that's the book. So it's exciting.
yeah, the $1 Billion Impact Networking is the title. Subtitle is really important that I don't want people to miss, and that is get in the right rooms or create them. And that's one of the things that I've appreciated about Stacey is that um, she helps people to take action, and they don't have to be invited into the right room to make an impact. She'll help them to create the room and obviously find their voice and then move them through the phases. And so if people want to go out there and track you down, Stacey, I know that we talked about the TEDx video and we talked about, a bunch of other YouTube stuff, but what's the best place for people to reach out to you and learn more about the $1 Billion Impact Networking book and the marketplace?
Yeah, I would say come to the website. It's still, depending on when this happens, it's still being done. Hopefully, you'll see something cool on there. It's the $1 billion impact.com. And then, if all else fails, just for anyone that wants any motivation of like running a business and having it be successful while you're growing, everything I've been doing has been in my Facebook group. And so it's dothethingcollaboration.com. So join me on Facebook, and that kind of gets you into my whole ecosystem.
Yeah, we'll make sure we have links to those in the show notes and make sure everybody has your contact information as well. But thanks so much for joining us for this fun. And man, I can't wait for Jeff to get up on that and do his 2 minutes. Can we get video of that and post?
David does a Chris Farley presentation. That's phenomenal. He gets half my time. He does the whole Chris Farley. It's phenomenal. Everyone laughs. He's fun.
All right, how's everybody? Good, good, good. All right, well, it was good chatting with you, Stacey, and thanks for joining up with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to the Business Builders Playbook. If this episode gave you some plays that you can start running in your business today, hit subscribe and share with another revenue leader who's tired of the pipeline grind. Building predictable revenue isn't something you figure out alone. Whether you're looking to automate your prospecting with BDR.ai, or you just want to talk through the growth challenges you're facing, reach out. We help business leaders just like you to build systems that actually scale. And if you're ready to stop being your company's highest paid prospector, let's have a conversation. Reach out to us at BDR.ai. Until next time, let's keep building.